Before we begin, don't forget to follow Churches of the World for more inspiring stories of faith, history, and the sacred places that connect us across the globe. The Pope is one of the most influential figures in the world. But where did the papacy begin? To find that answer, we have to go back nearly 2,000 years, to the dusty roads of ancient Judea, and to a man named Simon, who would one day be called Peter. Life in Judea during the 1st century was harsh. The region was under Roman occupation, and political unrest was constant. Taxes were heavy, and religious tensions ran deep. Most people lived modest lives, surviving by farming, fishing, or trade. It was in this world that Simon worked as a fisherman alongside his brother Andrew on the Sea of Galilee. Simon was an ordinary man, with no formal education or religious authority. But his life took a dramatic turn when he encountered Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus called Simon to leave everything and follow him, and he did. Over time, Jesus gave him a new name, Peter, which means rock. That name change was more than symbolic. It signaled a destiny. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." He also tells Peter, "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven." In biblical times, keys represented responsibility and leadership. Jesus was clearly appointing Peter to a unique role, a foundational leader in the community of believers. But Peter was far from perfect. He was passionate, impulsive, and sometimes fearful. He tried to walk on water but sank. He declared he would never abandon Jesus, but later denied him 3 times. And yet Jesus forgave him and reaffirmed his mission. "Feed my sheep," he said, meaning, care for my people. After Jesus' resurrection and ascension, Peter emerged as the leader of the apostles. At Pentecost, he was the one who stood up and spoke to the crowds. His bold words that day brought thousands into the faith. He traveled, preached, healed the sick, and worked miracles in Jesus' name. The Acts of the Apostles consistently presents Peter as a key figure, respected, decisive, and courageous. Eventually, Peter made his way to Rome, the heart of the empire. Rome was not just a political capital. It was becoming a spiritual crossroads. Christians had begun gathering there, quietly at first, and then in growing numbers despite persecution. Peter's presence in Rome was both strategic and spiritual. It planted the seeds of what would become the Roman Church. According to tradition and early church writings, Peter led the Christian community in Rome for several years. He taught, baptized, and helped organize the faithful. But his time in the city ended in martyrdom. Around 64 AD, during the reign of Emperor Nero, a fire devastated Rome. Nero blamed the Christians, leading to brutal persecutions. Peter was arrested and sentenced to be crucified, but he insisted on being crucified upside down, saying he was not worthy to die in the same way as Jesus. So why do we call Peter the first pope? The word pope comes from the Latin papa, meaning father. In the Catholic tradition, the Pope is the Bishop of Rome and the spiritual leader of the global church. Since Peter served as the first bishop in Rome and died there as a martyr, he is considered the first in that unbroken line of successors. Early Christian writers supported this idea. Around 180 AD, Saint Irenaeus wrote that the church in Rome was founded by the 2 most glorious apostles, Peter and Paul, and that it held a special authority. Origen, writing in the 3rd century, called Peter the Prince of the Apostles. Tertullian referred to Peter as the first to preside over the Church of Rome. This concept, called apostolic succession, is the idea that the authority Jesus gave to the apostles, especially Peter, has been passed down through the bishops of the Church from generation to generation. The Pope, as Bishop of Rome, is seen as the successor to Peter, carrying on his role as shepherd of the Church. Peter's legacy continues in visible ways. The Basilica of St. Peter in Vatican City is one of the most important churches in the world. It was built over what is believed to be Peter's burial site. Underneath the altar, you will find a simple tomb believed to contain the bones of the fisherman who became the first pope. Pilgrims come from every corner of the earth to see it, pray near it, and reflect on the journey of this extraordinary man. Beyond the buildings and traditions, Peter's story is about transformation. He was not born into greatness. He made mistakes. He doubted. He failed. But he also loved deeply, grew in courage, and ultimately gave his life for the truth he believed in. He reminds us that faith isn't about being flawless, it's about being faithful. Today, the Pope continues to be a global figure of unity, morality, and peace. From diplomatic visits to interfaith dialogue, from addressing injustice to guiding millions of Catholics, the papacy remains a living link to the leadership Jesus entrusted to Peter. Every pope, whether John Paul II, Benedict XVI, or Pope Francis, has stood in Peter's place, holding the same keys, speaking to the same world, and serving the same mission. From a boat on the Sea of Galilee to the heights of Vatican City, Peter's journey is one of the most remarkable in human history. He was the first pope, not by conquest or inheritance, but by calling, a simple fisherman chosen to lead, a flawed man made strong through grace, a rock on which a church was built. Thank you for watching Churches of the World. If you enjoyed this journey through the origins of the papacy, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with others who love history, faith, and sacred places. We'll see you next time as we continue exploring the beautiful and powerful stories behind churches and spiritual traditions across the globe. Until then, peace be with you.